that feeling? Why did it have to go away? I long for that feeling.
Hey guys, this is Jan Bolacano of MobileTechPinoy.com coming to you with the Samsung Galaxy A22, one of the brand's newest A-series phones. At 11,999 pesos, it's not the most affordable in their smartphone lineup, but it is the kind of handset I like to refer to as a premium entry-level offering. Basically a good mix of specs that allow it to perform well regardless of whether you're trying to be productive, enjoy content, or play games. Then take all of that and pack it into a sleek-looking phone that you wouldn't be ashamed to whip out next to the latest iPhone. Now, the Samsung Galaxy A22 is still fairly new, but it's already been out for a couple of months, meaning there are a ton of reviews out there, and I'd rather not push out another review that kind of rehashes the same points. Something I'm genuinely more interested in is how well the Galaxy A22 can perform as a creator's tool. Let's face it, it's been a tough year and a half, and there are a lot more people now who find themselves trying to kill time on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. And a lot of them, myself included, are looking not just to consume, but to create as well. Let's start off with a budding mobile photographer. If capturing moments to share on social media is your thing, you'll probably make use of every one of the Galaxy A22's 5 cameras. A 48 megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization, an ultra-wide camera, a macro camera, and finally a depth sensing camera, which doesn't capture images by itself. Rather, it helps achieve a blurry background by detecting the subject against everything behind it. You can also easily switch between the primary camera or the ultra-wide and macro cameras depending on your shooting scenario, and you get a nice selection of photo modes too, such as your typical portrait, panorama, pro, and night modes, as well as a less common dedicated food mode. As a walk-around camera, I was impressed by its versatility and the detail I was able to capture. Here in this shot from the main camera, you can pick out the individual rocks in the stream and the foreground all the way back to the background. You can see how well it resolves detail in the leaves of the trees, though you can see a bit of purple fringing around the leaves against the sky. The ultra-wide camera, despite only packing 8 megapixels of resolution, doesn't exhibit a lot of drop-off in detail while bringing more of the background into the shot. I absolutely wouldn't mind using it to capture landscapes or architecture. The macro camera is okay, but not great. It allows you to really get up close to subjects, which aids itself in toy or small life photography such as insects. However, it's not able to blur the background that well, and whatever background defocus it's able to achieve doesn't look that pleasing. The Samsung Galaxy A22 is capable of zooming in up to 1000% or 10x zoom. However, I personally don't find it very usable beyond the 4 or 5x mark. Still, mobile photographers will be able to make use of this for extra reach when shooting subjects from further away, compressing the background behind their target, or taking more flattering portraits. The optical image stabilization is also pretty good, and you'll find it most helpful zoomed in where every shake is more evident. Overall, the photos were decently sharp, contrasty, and vivid, and I made sure to check the photos on my personal desktop monitor instead of what I saw off the Galaxy A22's Super AMOLED display. The pictures from this phone were legitimately vivid. There are a few disappointments, with the most glaring to me being the Pro mode. The Galaxy A22's Pro mode only allows you to control ISO, white balance, and exposure compensation, which some phones give you straight up in their non-Pro modes. I've seen other Pro modes at least give you control over shutter speed and manual focus, but you see none of that here. Also, you can't directly choose an HDR mode, unless I missed it, which is a mode that lets you capture more detail from the highlights and shadows, resulting in a more balanced exposure. You still get HDR, but only by enabling an auto HDR setting where the phone chooses when to enable HDR or not. This is probably fine for 95% of users out there who won't know what to do with that level of control. If you're part of the OC 5% of power user group though, you might find this upsetting. Something creators often have to dabble in, even if you're technically not selling anything online, is the product shot. Now, I'm no expert, though I imagine a lot of folks are perfectly fine with shooting off their desk and maybe using RGB lighting that they have available. The Galaxy A22's cameras are pretty good for this purpose. Now, if you're into making videos, such as for YouTube, the Samsung Galaxy A22 offers a respectable enough feature set. Both the front and rear cameras can shoot in 720 HD or 1080 Full HD at 30 frames per second. And if you're on the rear camera, you can also switch between the main and ultra-wide lenses while filming. You also have the ability to smoothly zoom in up to 10x, though realistically I'd say only up to 5x zoom is usable though. This is where I really appreciate the camera stabilization. It manages to keep shots steady, even at the longest 10x zoom. Sure, their features lack any detail to be recognizable, but at least I can keep them in frame, handheld. Another video option you guys will appreciate is the 120 frame per second slow-mo. This is great for capturing otherwise brief moments of emotion or action and can be used as a storytelling tool to enhance your video. I definitely appreciate that it doesn't get that dark on this mode, which has been the tendency I've seen on other budget phones with slow-mo. One of the technical drawbacks with the slow-mo is the faster shutter speed, which lets in less light. So it's nice to see that the Galaxy A22 is able to avoid that. What I would have liked to see on this mode though is the ability to zoom in when shooting in slow-mo. Those of you who might be into adding cool slow-mo B-roll to your shots might know that combining this with a longer focal length equivalent or a zoomed-in look is a pretty popular B-roll look. The newer iPhones can do it, alas the Galaxy A22 can't, and you're stuck with a rather wide field of view when shooting on this mode. For those of you who know your way around editing software like Premiere Pro, you can get around this limitation by faking slow-mo from Galaxy A22 videos shot in 30 frames per second, and then using a setting called Optical Flow so the fake slow-mo footage doesn't appear jittery, and you'll see some samples of this in a sort of street montage towards the end of this video. However, this would require knowledge in Premiere Pro, which the average user probably won't. Also, I'm comfortable slowing footage down using Optical Flow by 50%, whereas 120 FPS is 25% slower compared to 30 FPS. I'm also a bit disappointed but not surprised that it can't shoot video in more frame rates. It'd be nice to have 24 FPS, which is the cinematic standard, or 60 FPS, which you can either use for slow-mo or watch in real time for a hyper-realistic look. But hey, again, those are features that probably less than 1% of you are even looking for anyway. So I'd say the Galaxy A22 is still versatile enough for creating YouTube content or even a bit of filmmaking, but not as versatile as it is for photography. Now, if you're more into making stories or TikToks, the Galaxy A22 has a number of tools to help you unleash your creativity. You can use Samsung's AR emoji to create an avatar of yourself, then generate personalized animated stickers you can import into your content. There's also a nice selection of filters to give your video a color-graded look. Finally, there are Snapchat-style filters, though they're definitely more basic than if you were to use what's already on Snapchat, TikTok, or Instagram. Personally, I'd be happy to jump into content creation with a phone as full-featured as the Samsung Galaxy A22. At 11,999 pesos, it's an okay entry point for a versatile photography and videography tool to kick off your career as a creator. However, as a phone, it does leave a bit to be desired. At this price, it would have been nice to see 5G, especially when there are phones retailing for almost 5,000 pesos less that come with it. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you found value in this content creation focused review, how about liking the video or subscribing if you want to check out more content like this? You can even support this channel by buying me a coffee using the link in the description below or leaving a super thanks. How about it? So I guess that's it for this one. Thanks for joining me until the very end of the video. Hopefully you've subscribed, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.